All right, good morning. It's good to see you once again. We're excited because of the brand new week and, of course, a brand new day. Of course, I believe that you had yourself a very relaxing weekend and a very inspiring weekend like I did. Welcome on board. My name is Winnie Libamba. So excited to talk about the topic of the day, that is women entrepreneurs, or let's say women and entrepreneurship. And we have four lovely women who are in business. And of course, like someone said, that when you empower a woman, you empower the society. And of course, in the spirit of empowerment and all that, we have had a lovely, lovely speech over the weekend by the US president, that is Barack Obama, talking about women are actually the power force or the powerhouse of entrepreneurship in Kenya. So we want to know, where are the women in terms of, or where are they in terms of entrepreneurship? Why is it that we do not have so many women entrepreneurs out there? And then again, what can we do to empower as many women to venture into this field, that is entrepreneurship, so that we can empower the entire society? So we have a lot to talk about, and of course have an amazing, amazing discussion, but we cannot forget to thank our sponsors, that is the Valentine Cake House, and not forgetting Blossoms Hair and Beauty Spa for the amazing, amazing services that they offer. So before we even talk much on women and entrepreneurship, I would like you to meet the lovely, lovely ladies that I have with me on set today. So starting with you, how are you?
I'm very
First
well.
of all, we're all looking beautiful. Black and white seems to be, or and a touch of red, a touch of purple. Seems to be the theme for the day. But how are you?
Fine.
I'm excited. Monica, you and our set. Okay, I see you. All right, who'll start from your end? Just say hi to the lovely viewers back at home.
Hi everyone, my name is Irene Mureithi, the CEO and founder of Personal Development Institute, and we basically focus on developing human potential, and I call that the software for entrepreneurship. Just like in everything, there is the software and the hardware part of it. We really focus on the soft skills that can make any entrepreneur, you know, an established entrepreneur or an upcoming entrepreneur, or even a potential entrepreneur, a woman who is watching us today, to develop the mental software that is required for success in entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is fun. I'm really glad to be here with these great women. Yes, it is.
I love to hear that. Entrepreneurship is fun.
Yes.
Just like I always say, being a TV presenter or media is fun. So at least today I've tried something new. Being an entrepreneur is fun. Okay, so we're glad to have you.
Thank
and
you.
of course, looking forward to hear more about entrepreneurship and of course how fun it is.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Monica.
you.
Hi viewers, my name is Monica Mzungu. Entrepreneurship is fun. I'm a fan as well for entrepreneurship. I'm the founder and marketing manager of Senior Adventures Limited. I have energy, you know, what Obama had last weekend. I'm motivated already.
Me too.
I'm ready to push on.
Okay.
I'm ready to push on from here because I digested everything from the weekend.
And looking forward to see the next summit.
Yes.
You know, being among the panelists
Oh,
and
my goodness.
empowering so many people, the youth.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll take your challenge.
Yeah, you better.
I will.
Okay.
All right, now that everyone is saying entrepreneurship is fun, I think it is fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Nancy Amunga, the Managing Director of Dana Communications. We do courier services and errands within Nairobi and its environs. We came up with the idea because the city traffic situation, everyone is complaining we don't have time for traffic and all that. So yeah, and we say it's never done unless Dana gets it done. Yes.
I love that. I love that. All right. Welcome on board as well.
Thank
We're eager to learn as well from you.
Thank
And last but not least, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Lovely coat.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here with all these very empowering women. My name is Lois Wamboimburu, marketing manager for Pelican Lodge in Lake Elementaita. Elementaita is just in between Naivasha and Nakuru, and we are in the hospitality sector. We do, you must have heard of us, right?
Yeah.
We do a lot at the Pelican Lodge, from conferences to weddings to just romantic getaways, honeymoons, and we're at the shores of Lake Elementaita. Now, if you think you have fun, imagine my job.
I know.
By the lake. It's just a good thing. And then
You're always relaxing.
you're always relaxed, you're always
Okay.
having fun, you're always meeting new people, and I love that about what I do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Of course. And getting from all of us, I believe that we've all learned something from Obama's speech over the
Yes.
weekend.
Yes.
And I am so so motivated, by the way. You know, coming to work this morning, I was thinking, you know what? I want to be the next person, you know, moderating in, you know, the GS summit that probably will happen, I don't know, some time to come. And I was so motivated. I believe everybody was motivated. But then again, to keep us even more motivated, we have the video of his speech. So take a look at this as we plan to talk about women and entrepreneurship. Stick around.
All of you embody a spirit that we need to take on some of the biggest challenges that we face in the world. The spirit of entrepreneurship, the idea that there are no limits to the human imagination, that ingenuity can overcome what is and create what needs to be. And everywhere I go across the United States and around the world, I hear from people, but especially young people, who are ready to start something of their own, to lift up people's lives and shape their own destinies. And that's entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship creates new jobs and new businesses, new ways to deliver basic services, new ways of seeing the world. It's the spark of prosperity. It helps citizens stand up for their rights and push back against corruption. Entrepreneurship offers a positive alternative to the ideologies of violence and division that can all too often fill the void when young people don't see a future for themselves. Entrepreneurship means ownership and self-determination, as opposed to simply being dependent on somebody else for your livelihood and your future. Entrepreneurship brings down barriers between communities and cultures and builds bridges that help us take on common challenges together. Because one thing that entrepreneurs understand is that you don't have to look a certain way or be of a certain faith or have a certain last name in order to have a good idea.
Yes, lovely speech right over there on entrepreneurship. And I like what I said. Being an entrepreneur, you have the freedom and not to really depend on someone for, you know, your livelihood and all that. And having all of you here today to talk about entrepreneurship and all that. First of all, I will ask you, because, you know, we all hear this thing, entrepreneurship, you know, women entrepreneurs, the men also being, you know, entrepreneurs in their own, you know, capacity and all that. So I will start with you. What would you say entrepreneurship is?
Well, basically, it's managing a business or starting an idea and translating that idea from an idea to a business concept. And there's still the whole issue of managing, because it's not just translating the idea into a business. A business does need to be managed if it's going to, you know, achieve its purpose. Yes.
And you know, most people have this confusion between being a business owner
Yes.
and an entrepreneur, thinking that it's the same thing, but it's slightly different.
Well, like it came out during the conference where there was one of the speakers who said entrepreneurship is all about ownership, but you said something about depending on one another. As an entrepreneur, whether you're self-employed or you're a business owner, there's a difference between self-employment and business ownership. You know, self-employment means it's up to you, and it can be very high level, even for a doctor and a lawyer, but when you're not there, your shop is closed or your law firm is closed. But being a business owner means that you have established systems and there are people running the system. So whether you're in or not, business is going on. But really, even for that person who is starting, because I started as an employee, then I moved on to self-employment, and then I moved on into being a business owner where I created systems. So wherever you begin, the most important thing is to realize that you must have a product and something that is motivating and inspiring people.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and I can see the passion in you
Yeah.
once you talk about that. But Monica, I would ask you, at 16 years old, is where you are right now, is it what you saw when you were 16 years old, or what is it that you wanted to be at 16? Let's go back memory lane.
At 16 years old, I wanted to own my own company.
Really?
I had a dream.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. You know, at 16, most of us I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher. But as you grow up, yeah, you know, but as you grow up, things change and you find yourself in a totally different field. You know, that you wanted to be, and of course, entrepreneurship being one of them. Interact with so many people that will tell you, this is not what I really wanted to be when growing up. But then again, I found myself being an entrepreneur. And like you said, it's fun. You know, it is fun. And I would ask
not
you.
easy.
Yeah,
I'll say
easy.
it's for giants and for for you to be an entrepreneur, you have to be so strong, because entrepreneurs have passed through a lot of challenges. And for you to be a strong entrepreneur, you have to be positive, and you have to surround yourself with the eagles for you to go where you want to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, talking about women and entrepreneurship, where would you say women are in terms of, the corporate world? Where would you say the women are?
I'd say first, women make the world go round.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think with time, women have evolved, I just think we are up there. Yeah,
Okay.
not exactly where we want to be, but we are up there. Like we just make our communities, like on their toes every now and then. And I'm so glad women are catching up with entrepreneurship. Having not necessarily having their own businesses, but managing other people. Because when you talk about entrepreneurship, someone just think it's all about having your own business, being your own boss, getting your money. Like she said, it's not easy. That one, it's fun, but not easy. It's for people with big hearts. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then again, I would ask you the sub-question. Why is it that we're not yet there where we want to be as women?
I think, okay, I'll speak from the perspective of Kenya. Not for all women, but from the perspective of Kenya. Like, we are still a young nation, but we have to give credit where it's due. The women who have been there before us have set such a beautiful path that if you could meet each and every one of them, we'd have to say thank you. Because look at this, we're all women.
Yeah.
Before we would watch TV, when the screen used to go the blue, yellow, and strict lines at 5, it was mainly based on men. And for the young ones watching KBC used to go off. Oh, sorry. Did I do that?
Okay, it's okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I was still young back then.
Yeah.
But we're not where we need to be. One, because we're still learning. We're learning from the mistakes that we have. And I also feel that with the same aspect, we are our own worst enemies also. We don't give each other the support that we should. And only when you meet women who support each other, will you see that they're actually going somewhere. We have a lot to learn in that aspect, because I think, maybe let me leave it at that one for now. That we don't give each other the support that we need to have, but we are on the rise. We are on the move.
We are trying. Yes. Okay, we're not yet there, but we are trying.
We're trying.
All right. So I would ask you, what does it take to be a woman entrepreneur in Kenya?
Number one, passion, and we have to ask, where does passion come from? And I have run Personal Development Institute, that is commonly known out there as PDI, for the last 5 years. I transitioned from a banking career. I was a banker for 10 years. But then this dream of inspiring people to unleash their potential. Like she said, when Monica when she was 16, she had a dream. So many people have dreams, but those dreams have sort of fizzled out with time. So when I was in the bank, I realized my dream as a 14-year-old was actually to be a public speaker, inspiring, motivating people. Yet I was really just then stuck in the banking industry. So that's how I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so far, what would you say is the reason why you really wanted to get out of the banking? Aside from the dream that you had of being a public speaker and motivate people and all of that, what is that one thing that made you to be like, you know what, I am done with the banking industry, I now want to go into entrepreneurship?
Passion, and that's what I was trying to talk about. I was very passionate about talking to people, so I would still talk to people over the weekends when I was not working in the bank. I'd talk to people in church, but I never used to get paid for my passion. So really, passion is the bedrock for entrepreneurship, and it's what keeps you going even when the challenges come, because you're passionate about what it is that you do. You're able to pick yourself up. Even when you fail, you dust yourself and move on. So I would say the bedrock for me is passion, and I think for every entrepreneur here.
We agree.
Okay. It takes passion.
Yeah.
All right.
And I add on that.
Okay.
For passion, it's very important, because at times you don't even feel like waking up. Things are not even working out. Like I said, entrepreneurship is for people with big hearts, So if you don't have that thing that's, pushing you forward, then you won't even make it. You won't even wake up.
Okay.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. So I think we'll have to elaborate more on that. But then again, we need to take a look at this lovely video by one of the most successful entrepreneurs, in America. And of course, we're talking about Barbara. The other name, Corcoran. Yeah. So take a look at that as we, to get a little bit inspired as we talk more on women and entrepreneurship, especially in Kenya. Where are we and what do we need to do as women in Kenya to make sure that, fine, in as much as we're not there yet, but we help each other to get there and, of course, drive the economy as well. So take a look at this. We'll be right back.
Well, it took, like anything that you build, tremendous hard work, tremendous dedication, good judgment, hustle, not giving up, dealing with rejection well, not being emotional when you're dying to cry, hustling to get the next client every day of the week. It takes all the same things that everybody does to build a business, and stretching money as quick and as fast and as lean and mean as you possibly can. See how much you can get out of every buck that you spend. I'm one of 2 women on Shark Tank. There's Lori Grenier and myself, and the rest are all guys. But when I'm on the set, there's only 1 woman, as is the case with Lori. And I have always been the only woman in almost everything I've done. And a lot of people think that might be a disadvantage. Let me tell you, it was a great advantage, because I wore hot red suits, wore hot pink on an occasion. I had micro mini skirts on, and when I walked into a room, everyone knew I wasn't a man and I was noticed. I didn't care, as long as I was noticed. As women, I think we by nature are pleasers rather than demanders by nature. I don't know where that comes from, but I find that in myself all the time. I think we don't learn how to brag early enough. I think a guy climbs a mountain, and when he's halfway up, he's screaming, "I'm king of the mountain." I think when a woman climbs a mountain, she gets up, sets up camp, furnishes her kitchen, and says, "I might be queen of the mountain." Okay? Women don't declare the way men declare, and yet women, from what I can see, are powerful, can do many more things all at once than men can do. I know that's stereotyping, but if given a man and a woman any day of the week and they were equal, I would hire a woman, because she's going to work harder and prove to me she's better than the guy. I know it. I've hired people my whole life. No advantage in blending in if you're a competitor. All it does is it makes you one of a bunch of other people, all right? But if you can stand apart from any pack, even if it's tasteless, and I have to tell you, on many occasions I was frankly fairly tasteless with the way I did things, but people remember you. And if they remember you, you have occasion to perhaps have them call you. And so, no, I'm all for standing apart from the pack. When you're in business for yourself, you make up your own rules. And you are allowed to make up your own rules. Think of the freedom of that and how you could write your own little dream, and that's exactly what I did. Well, thinking outside the box is a cliche that I think everybody's tired of hearing. I don't really see it that way. I think of it as trying one last time to try to figure out an angle that you could work to succeed at something that was a failure. And those are usually the times you come up with your best ideas. It's really the best times. I remember there was one time when I had 88 apartments to sell all over New York. They were not the pick of the litters. What's the opposite of the pick? The dregs of the market, I guess you might say. And I was able to sell them all in an hour and a half. And you know why? It wasn't because I was thinking out of the box. It was I was desperate for an angle. And so I just thought of mimicking a puppy sale when there aren't enough puppies to go around. I priced them all alike, and I had 200 people waiting in line because they didn't think there were enough to go around. And so they all snapped those ugly old apartments up in a jiffy, simply because they knew there were another 150 people in line who really wanted them and they couldn't get them. So I don't think that's thinking out of the box. Everybody said that was genius marketing. I remember the papers, genius marketing. It wasn't genius marketing. I was just trying to figure an angle to make a buck and stay in business. And that's usually when you come up with your best ideas, in those desperate hours when you're trying to try one more thing because nothing else has worked. You need that kind of pressure to think outside the box.
All right, words of wisdom there by Barbara Corcoran. And of course, it's something that we women should actually take it and run away with it. That is, if I were you. But then again, if I got it right, there's something that she said, that women actually tend to work harder than the men. And given a chance to employ between a woman and a man, she would actually employ a woman. So would you share the same? Monica,
I will.
you said, she's my role model. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, when I look at her, I say, I'm a shark as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because, women, for example, when you give a woman, you give a woman a business and you give a man a business, a woman's business is going to to do good than a man's business, because women, they embrace the opportunity. They are go-getters. And when they want to do something, a woman will do that thing until she gets what she wants. That's what I believe in it. I also believe in women.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And if women are go-getters, like you said, why is it that we're still not yet there, you know, in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of, you know, trying our own businesses and making sure that, fine, we balance between business and family as well? Can you?
I think it's because we have to work twice as hard to get half of what they have.
Okay.
So when the odds are against you, there are a lot of people a lot of women who are held back by fear, and that is a fact. I'm sure everyone here has gone through moments like when you talked about motivation and the essence for there are days when you just feel that you can't make it. Now, when you feel you can't make it, and the society tells you can't make it, you start to believe that you can't make it. So you have to consistently tell yourself that you can. And when you have that opportunity to do business, you are not just doing it for yourself. You can't fail, because when I can't remember who said it, but when a woman fails, you don't have that option, because if I start a business and I fail, it wouldn't be Lois who failed. It would be women can't do it. So you have to. There's more pressure on you to prove yourself that you are actually worth what you are doing, that you are worth the 2 cents. That even though I have 4 kids at home, it doesn't take away from my ideas. So I guess. Yeah,
we're trying. All right, and of course, let's talk about your own personal experiences in you know, raising your businesses to where you are right now. I will start with you. You know, the courier services. I would say, man, I don't know, never ever thought about getting into such you know, business, because most of us will be like, that's tough, you know, and I can't really do this. But how do you manage?
Of course, it's always everything is tough. Tell me one thing that's easy. Nothing.
Most people say to me, presenting is easy. Well, that's not a business, but it's tough.
Yeah. So I started the business when I bought a TV online, and it took more than a week to be delivered to my place. And when you look at the Nairobi radius, is like 30 kilometers. So I was like, why is it taking a week to be delivered to my place? So because I believe entrepreneurship is all about finding the gap and filling it, you know, and it's all about the society, you know. So I thought, instead of being part of the problem, let me be part of the solution. So I started researching and finding out what can I do. So I thought the best way is to, you know, just come up with the same services and offer great customer service, of which we are doing. All of you should try us.
We will.
Yeah, and yeah, so we are here where we are, and because of passion, we keep going. Yeah. And I'd say women work hard, because as a woman, when you look at the finishing of everything that you do, yeah, it's always perfect. You know, men will just come, touch, you know, and then yeah. But we are very careful, you know, when we handle even things. So that's why I'd also employ women.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Now let's talk, you know, about your business a little bit. You know, and of course, what you do. Is it easy?
Well, it's not easy, but like I said at the beginning, it's fun. I enjoy it because I have a passion for it. And just like her, I also have more women employees than men. And I think basically because women are nurturers by nature. So we tend to nurture businesses better, whether you own them or you're managing them on behalf of other people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, we also have like the basic fundamentals, fundamental principles when it comes to business and all that. Monica, what would you say they are?
Okay, the principle is the profit you get, like Buffen says, the profit you get in business, you should not use it, but you should keep it. And then what you keep what you keep as what you're going to use is what you can use. But you should be investing a lot in business. Sacrifice yourself. Like me, for example, in the tourism sector, was very down for years. You can ask me how I survived, but I still maintain the office. I had somebody who came and saluted me in the office that if you can maintain your office at this level, I salute you. I had plan B, as Barbara was saying. I had plan B for doing it. I had to get away to being employed somewhere else as a part-time, on being paid on percentage, so that I can pay my office and pay my staff. Because when I depend on tourism, it's slow. There's nothing you can do. But we had to go for plan B to keep the office running. Like I work for marketing across Africa, they do air cargos. I do work on percentage. When I'm paid, I sacrifice myself for my salary. I pay the office. I pay my staffs. So it's about sacrificing yourself and thinking of plan B. As an entrepreneur, you must have a plan B, because if you don't have a plan B, I tell you, just
what
go
will
down
happen
again.
if this other business does not really go well, and then you start saying, I can't really do this. So plan B is always recommended.
Yeah, plan B is good.
Okay. And would you advise someone to go for plan B in terms of setting up another business or getting employed somewhere else? What would you advise people to do?
No, if at all you have a focus on your entrepreneurship business, just focus on that. Because when you go for plan B and yet you don't know how this is going, you've not gone. For me, I did that because I failed twice in tourism sector, and I know how it pains to fail and bounce back. So I was doing that because I wanted to protect my office. I wanted to keep my office. I wanted to keep the business running and everything. So I had to look for what can I do to make this happen. That's why I had to tell the other company that I'll work on percentage, but most of the time I'm Senior Adventures. But I'm going to market, and the business I get, I'm going to be paid on percentage, but not on payroll, because I don't want them to control me. I want to control myself because I have my business.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You would have all the power. All right. Let's talk about you, and of course, being the marketing manager. How do you keep up with the men? You know, to make sure that you know what you're doing it, and I'm trying to do it better than you can.
Okay. If the hospitality industry, I'd like to be thankful over the fact that there are a lot of women, given that we are more hospitable. When you enter a hotel, there's a woman behind the desk. A woman will be your concierge, your travel agent, as you can see. Women will be everywhere. But there are situations where it's a bit hard when you deal with men, because you have maybe places that you're not taken as seriously. Like if you go to maybe a corporate office, and I also think for me, being a woman and being young is like a double-sided type of battle, because I have to prove that I'm not just here to make. I'm not just
like a pretty face.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just a pretty face. Like if we could have this meeting with what is it? What like a confession box. Like you're on the other side, so you can listen to what I have to say. That would also be helpful. But I'm thankful for the industry that I'm in, because it's hospitality. By default, everyone has to be hospitable, so we do get to help each other out.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Something funny, let me say. Me, I work with men. Most of the time, I'm the only lady. Like, let's say, for example, you saw that bodyguard, Obama's place. I admired her. You know, the way she controlled the place. I saw myself like the way I handled President Convoy, Ugandan president, and I'm the only lady. I'm like, wow, then I should do the way she's doing. Because these people, sometimes I do control them, because they follow what I say. I know what they do, and I have to stand, and they respect me as a lady, and I'm like, that was the perfect example of who I am.
And if you'd also allow me to add, I'm a graduate of Compuera High School, and my director was Mrs. Muhoho, and Mrs. Muhoho she's always been, by then she may not remember this, but she has been such an inspiration to how I carry myself. I remember once she said that when she worked for East Africa breweries, she was like, when she'd enter a room, she would be the only woman in that room. But she consistently had to reinforce the fact that because she's a woman, it's not any different. Like, you have to take me seriously. So when I go somewhere representing Pelican Lodge, I'm not just going there as a woman, but if being a woman gives you the advantage, as Barbara says, if I walk into an entry, marketing is about standing out. So if I stand out and you notice me, that's fine. I have your attention. I'll listen to what I have to say.
I think what you should just put in mind is, I always tell people that when you look at the jungle, there's so many animals in terms of size. You know, we have the hippos, we have all those big animals. But the lion is still the king of the jungle. So look at these big people, like for our courier service, so let's say we look at these big companies, they've been there like forever. But you know, we can still be the queens of the jungle.
You can.
Yes.
You can.
And that's what we do at PDI, helping people to develop that confidence. I remember when I used to work at the bank at the airport, JKIA, some of my girlfriends would come and say, Irene, why do you work with such confidence? You know, your heels, it's like your father owns the airport. You know? And I think it was that a sense of self-esteem and positive self-confidence that actually helped me to start PDI. So it is important that women develop confidence. And one of the courses we run is called Think, Shift and Change. So as a woman entrepreneur, if you're going to thrive, you must continually think, shift and change so that you know you're powerful. We are not competing with men, but like she said, we are up there. Look at the focus right now, even from the GES. The focus is on women and the youth. So that alone is enough to tell a woman, be courageous. Act like you have it, even when you're struggling. I like her focus on when you're, you know, trying to build your business and there are all these challenges. You've got to really be courageous. I always act like I have $1 billion in the account. Yes. And actually, I tell people there was, because there are a lot of women who say, I can't start a business because I don't have capital. The greatest capital is your mind.
Is your mind.
So I always say you can run out of money in your bank account or in your purse, but never run out of money in your mind.
Okay. Wow.
So as a woman, as long as you have money in your mind, it gives you the confidence. I remember I'd always tell my clients, let's meet at the Norfolk, Serena, you know, Intercontinental. It's not that I always had the money to entertain them, but the lounge is free. And those people are trained. You know, you come from the hospitality industry, like you said, they're hospitable. They won't come and tell you because you're not ordering, get
so
out.
please don't sit
But
here.
I thank God that today I can go order and even have a night out and join the gym. But it started with that confidence as a woman.
And talking of what she's saying, as a woman, we don't have to depend that a man will come and give me capital to start a business. Every step at a time. Just whatever you have, the little you have, just focus and be yourself and say, I'm going to do it. I don't want to depend that a man will come and make me out of this situation. I cannot think that way. I know I have to solve my mess as a woman and I go for it.
And just to add to something that she mentioned, there's this mindset that women are one another's worst enemies. And like I'm saying, we have to shift and change from that, because when I was starting PDI, I didn't have money. I had 10,000 only. And I got 3 other women who gave me startup capital, and we started. So we can really be the ones
each other if we actually shift
as women.
If we actually shift and not dwell on that perception that we are our own worst enemies.
And like President said, that mentorship is good. We should mentor others. We should be there for others. For the starters, we should be there for them, to mentor them, to tell them that this is the way to go. When they need us, we should be there for them. I thank you for this show, because I know many people are going to be motivated and to start their own business. I salute you.
Okay, thank you. And of course, if you have any question for this wonderful women, send them to 21144. If you're thinking of starting your own business, but then you're like, I don't know where to start, I don't have the capital, I don't know who to talk to and all that, send your questions and of course your concerns on 21144 and we'll forward them, or we actually help you right here. That is, we'll read your question and of course make them to answer all your questions. Now let's talk about risk taking. Do you think women, we are risk takers enough to make sure that we start our own business, get into this field that is male dominated, and make sure that we also do the best as the men?
Yes, I think we are risk takers. Seriously, for us to be seated here, we took some risks, So I think we are stepping up, and I really thank the environment, because nowadays the environment is really, favoring us. Because if the President of the United States can come and say he'll have a center for women,
in Nairobi, I'm so excited about that.
In Nairobi means that more people are believing in us, so we don't have an excuse,
All right, and of course we need to take a short break, but when we come back, I'd want us to address the issue of culture, whereby different people have different cultures, and I think that is one of the things that hinders most women to venture into business or even start anything, to make sure that fine, and as much as my husband can provide, I can also chip in and make sure that we have a successful business together or raise our family together. So let's take that short break, but like we said, if you have any question, the number is 21144. Feel free to be part of the conversation. If you are outside there, a woman and of course an entrepreneur, and you're doing great, you can also send us your words of wisdom so that we can encourage as many people as we can. But before that, let's take that short break. All right, welcome back. Glad you're still with us. Remember, it's all about women and entrepreneurship. And of course, I'm excited to have these women with me today. I'm getting so much inspired. And I believe that you are being inspired as well. And like we said, if you have any question for them, the number is 21144. Or if you want to commend them on their job that they are doing, send your SMS as well on 21144. And of course, we want to address the issue of culture and how it affects women, and entrepreneurship. But then again, let's talk about some of the challenges that you've gone through. Have you ever failed? Because someone might be looking at you and thinking, they started the business and it's all rosy, it's all smooth and all that. So let's start with you.
I would say that I've been in business for 5 years, and yes, even starting the business itself, as President Obama was saying, for some people, even just getting the space to start was a challenge, because I didn't have much money. Like I said, I had only 10,000, and then I got 3 other women who gave me capital. So that in itself was a challenge. And along the 5 years, yes, there's been failure. Sometimes you find yourself in business debt, but as long as the business is still running and you're growing, you overcome. The whole issue of going back to the bank, despite me having worked in the bank, to negotiate for overdrafts, and sometimes you think you have paid by that date and you haven't. So those are part of the challenges. But like I said, for me, those challenges are also fun, because you get to grow, you get to learn. And I think as long as you wake up and you have passion for your business every day, despite the challenges, you grow. And having mentors, people who tell you, oh, you're only complaining about a 2 million loss. I remember one of my mentors told me how they lost 92 million. And that time I was talking about a loss of 2 million. So he was like, get up, girl, brush yourself and move on. So you need people who are real as an entrepreneur, so that it's not always what it looks like now on TV. I like what Barbara said, real life entrepreneurs who can tell you where they have failed, where they have succeeded, and how you can keep learning. And I think the most important thing in entrepreneurship is change. They say change is the only constant thing. So you learn from your failure and you change maybe how you position a product or a service, and you keep repositioning yourself.
Okay, all right. And still go back to what you said. It's all about shifting, your mindset and all that. All right, and of course you talked about getting mentors and networks as well. And most people will tell you it is not easy. So how do you make sure that and as much as I'm in the tourism industry, which I believe of course has its own challenges as well, you still make sure that you get your contacts, get your networks and all that.
One thing I always respect is whenever I meet a new person, I don't take it for granted, because you never know that person is the one who's bringing business in the office. Like us, who depend on brokers sometimes. Yes, we market online, but these brokers are the one we need to respect, because they're the one bringing the business. So everyone that I meet every day, I cherish the moment. I just love to meet new people every day, because that is where the network is. Because this person will tell the other like that. And also when I give the best service I can, when I give, like for example, I give her my services, I wholeheartedly I say, this is my client, even if she has a little amount of money, I respect that. Because after I give her my services, she's going to refer me to somebody else, and that person is going to bring business. And also, on the other hand, I hope men are watching this, because for entrepreneurs, they need to support the women. Some women, they fail to fight because they are men. They're not giving the support. And also they are discouraging them. They say, you cannot do this. I was discouraged before. Yes, and also last week I was talking to a lady who has been discouraged with the husband, saying the husband told her, there's nowhere you're going, this is not your dream. And she was so low, she was talking to me, and I told her, if this is your dream, just fight for it. So you men, if you're watching, you have to support your women.
Okay, support.
Can I add on to that? Our director at Pelican Lodge, I don't know if he does this intentionally or not, but he's really empowered the female workforce. Because a lot of my colleagues are females, and he took all of us from a very young point and nurtured us in most of what we know, all the things we've experienced. Okay, I won't say all, because people have worked different places before, but he has actually taken time to invest to the women who work in the business. He might not do it as emotionally as a woman would, sit you down and tell you can do it, but he will show you how to get it done.
In his own way. All right, okay, before we talk to you, Nancy, about some of the challenges that you go through, let's talk about you, of course, working in the midst of so many women as well. Are there cases where you guys fight, or there's really I want to make sure that I bring her down so that I get her position, and all that, yes. And how do you overcome that?
Ironically, I would like to say we don't have that.
Really?
It's not a perfect world, but
Wow,
we,
okay.
given the fact that our workforce isn't as big as a blue chip company, we have learned to be a family. In the essence, for if I know that tomorrow you won't be there because you have something else to do outside, the chain still needs to be running. So we are actually very supportive towards each other. Yes.
Okay.
And I think those are some of the myths, and when we talk about culture, that we have to destroy, because she's talking of a perfect example where they really don't fight, but people want to make you believe if you're working with fellow women, you must be fighting. So they're introducing a thought into your system, and we know as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So we need to really shift some of those myths, because what was it the president said, that the African story that has been told wasn't real. So some of those things are really just ingrained, but we can be the change that we want to see.
Okay, the agents of change. That is why we have all of you here, okay? All right, you talked about, taking, every opportunity that you meet with someone, you really, really find it precious. But then again, there's something else, pride, that, at I meet you, Monica, and then I start giving you my business card. At here, this is what I do and whatnot, like pride. And I would want us to address that in terms of discipline, in our business as well. Do you think pride is one of the things that kills, most entrepreneurs, I'll say there?
Seriously, if you're proud, if you have pride, then you're already dead. Because for you to, for you to move on, it's marketing. Most of the times, it's through word of mouth, like she said. I'll serve you good, and then you'll tell her, and then all of you now will be my clients. So I'd really say that issue of pride with entrepreneurship doesn't work.
You really
doesn't work. And another thing that she said of losing money, when you were starting or before you started, when I wanted to start this the services that I'm doing right now, we use motorbikes. So I wanted to buy motorbikes and I didn't have anything, So I had to sell insurance, do this, blah, 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 and all that. So I met these people who told me that they can give me, instead of buying one motorbike, they can give me 2 motorbikes, and then I just pay the deposit of 30,000 and then be paying slowly. Wow. So I had already, accumulated like 70 Gs, And then I gave it to them thinking that now I'll get 2 motorbikes and then be paying slowly by slowly. But the money vanished. Don't even ask how, but it just went. So, at that moment, that was like my 5 million. I know 70,000 is like pocket change to some people, but it was like my 5 million, So, like when I hear her saying 2 million, so I'm like, kumbe, this is the part.
Let me tell you something. A successful entrepreneur had a sad story to tell. Many have lost money. Many have been conned. I've been conned. I cried, but I had to. So it's a matter of, can I bounce back from what I've been? So,
and I think when you talked about pride, one of the courses that we are well known for in the corporate world, because besides people coming to us as PDI, we also train in the corporate world, is emotional intelligence, because pride is a negative emotion. So if you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur, you are going to have to master the game of being emotionally intelligent. And it's a journey. We all miss it. But again, if you have the mental software about emotional intelligence. I remember running that program for Kenya Airways, the heads of departments, and they really said it all boils down, like even when you said you don't have fights at your place of work, to emotional intelligence. So sometimes people just focus on the hard skills, like do you have a degree in this, and it's important, sometimes. But remember, when we are in business, when you're dealing with internal customers, your employees, or external customers, you don't exchange certificates, but you exchange attitudes or emotions, and even that ability to bounce back is still an emotional aspect of courage and strength. So for all the women listening to us out there, I would urge you to develop your emotional intelligence. And one of the ways to do that is you can Google and read about it, or you can attend a seminar, or you can read a book. There's so much you can do nowadays, to empower yourself as a woman entrepreneur. But we do need emotional intelligence in our businesses.
I don't know what she said. There's someone who said having a bad attitude is like a burst tire. You know,
you cannot really go anywhere
Exactly.
with a burst tire. All right, and then of course you talked about information is there. Like we have so many women who are really working hard to make sure that we empower as many girls as we can, empower as many women as we can. But then again, there's this, let's say, very marginal group where they'll be like, entrepreneurship, come on, no, we can't do this. Number one, we do not have capital. Number two, our culture does not allow us to, do anything. Like the money is supposed to be the provider. So us, ni kukaa chini, bear as many kids as we can, and all that. So we always have excuses as to why we cannot venture into this world. What would you tell the women?
I'm just wondering whether there's a woman who thinks that way in our day and age, but probably they are there. I would just urge them to sort of revive their dreams, because even within that woman who sits back thinking, I don't have capital, I don't have a man to support me, I don't have enough education, there is still a dream. Because they say the poorest person is not the person without money, but the person without a dream. So that woman has to start by, again, I come back to think, shift and change, by changing her perception of herself to realize that the dreams are within her, the dreams within her are valid. And atawesamek, how do you say that? Yeah, I'm not a good shank person, but at a Westmake, I think.
At a Westmake, okay. All right, it's all about shifting your mindset. And then again, to those people who still think that, I have to go to the bank, get a loan, and then again, what if my business does not succeed and I have to repay the loan and all that? So having all that, all those thoughts, we get scared to start a business. What would you say to the women?
I would say, what you have, the small you have to start with it. I started the 5,000 bob for Senior Adventures. Wow. I always tell people like that. But see where I am right now. I thank God, because I didn't see, a friend of mine told me that it will cost millions for me to get where I am right now. Even I registered the company with a friend, she backed off because she knew it is worth millions of shillings. But the 5,000 bob, I paid the office, were given desk and computer at Moy Avenue. And that's how it picked on. I've been in jail twice, but I never gave up.
What did you do?
Yeah, the Kahaya thing, you guys, Kahaya, when I say.
Okay.
Now, on the positive side,
right.
I gave a client Kahaya, client sold the car, and I was jailed because they thought I was part of the cartel, being carried with flying squad cars to different places because they thought I was a big criminal. But I came back when I was released innocently. I went back and moved the business again. When I was jailed the second time, I was a customer at Central Police Station, they knew me, but out again, I moved on because I wanted, I had a dream, and I didn't want even to go to bank to ask for money. I was scared of that, but I wanted to use the one I have. When I was giving out the cars, the profit I get, I have to save. I wasn't paying myself for some time. I used to stay with somebody else because I could not afford that. So I had to sacrifice myself other things, and the bills and everything, because I wanted the future for my company. I invested in that company a lot, my time and everything. I stayed for like 2 years without paying myself, but I wouldn't regret the life I was living, but I'm proud of who I am today. Yeah.
Okay.
I must commend her for that, and also say it takes sacrifice to be a successful entrepreneur. I remember our first year, personal development was just a big hit. We were the only ones doing it. I was on media everywhere, and we were, money was coming in millions, but I had put myself on a salary of only 50,000. So as opposed to what people are saying, this Irene Moradi of PDI on TV and hearing me on radio, they didn't know the sacrifices behind the scene. And I'm sure all of us have that. So if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, there is a face for sacrifice.
Okay, there is a face for sacrifice. All right.
Adding on what she said, if you continue asking yourself, will I make it? Will I do this? These things are all about risk. I think we've all taken the risks, and you can never get to where you want if you don't take the first step. And the first step is always the risky part. Will I make it? Will I be like blah, 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 and all
or you
that.
look at someone and then thinking, Meshafika already and I'm down here. How am I supposed to get over there?
Exactly.
And all that.
So you just look at the bigger picture, and I believe all of us, we all have different strategies of where to get where we want to get. Just look at the bigger picture. Of course, in between there'll be hiccups, those falls, but just learn to, dust yourself and move.
Okay, and move on.
And perseverance.
Oh yeah.
It's also very important, like just to simply feed what you want. Like in not only crushing the negative voices in your head, but feed it with what you actually want for yourself. If you wake up in the morning and you feel like the world is on top of you will be like, I'm on top of the world today. I will put on my good shoes and my good dress, and I will work. I will get out there and I will come back. Even if I don't come back with what I want, I'm one step closer than I was yesterday. I'm still one step closer than I would have been if I fell asleep.
That's very true.
And also, there's an aspect for entrepreneurship that Caroline Mutuku had put on a couple of years ago. I had it on radio when she was still on air. And she said that entrepreneurs, yes, we all have the people who can start businesses, but there's a way you are a brand by yourself. Like, you are an entrepreneur. You're saying it's not entrepreneurship, but it is, because the brand that you carry, your character, who you are, if you move from this show to another show, everyone will know that who am I dealing with. There are people who, once they leave, they've left and they can be replaced by anyone else. But if you build your character and you build your brand in such a way that when you move with your clients. You are a walking business. So you become a brand in yourself. Like the one of the, I can't remember his name, but the owner of Fubu that Obama came with. When you build a company and everyone knows that this belongs to Lois. I'll be like, she has set systems in place for this particular place, and not in the aspect that if Lois dies, so does the business. That I'm trying to avoid that scenario. But everyone is a brand by themselves. You are responsible for what you do, how you're viewed, and what you bring to the table.
I love that. All right, so thank you very much, ladies, for coming over today. We've learned a lot, and I believe that you've also learned a lot. So we wish you all the best in your businesses, and now we know if you want to come to Pelican, we know that you're at Pelican, of course. It's all about networking and stuff. So all the same, thank you very much for making time to be with us, and of course encouraging so many women outside there to, get up and get yourself into this field, because like I said, it's not easy. But then again, you can do it. If they've done it and they're here today to talk about it's fun, but it's not easy, but it's manageable, then you can do it as well. So wish you all the best as you think of starting any business. But like they said, start with what you have. Do not look at other people and then say, but see, they have a lot of money, but I do not have any money. Start with what you have, and you never know, you can make a difference. And like President Obama said, and I have to read this, he said that when women entrepreneurs succeed, they drive the economic growth and invest more back in their communities and in their families. So women, we can do this. So that's all for now. See you on Wednesday. My name is Winnie Lubembe. God bless and stay safe. Goodbye for now.
Nimejua mimi ni neema yako, sasa nimejua ni huruma zako, kufika hapa mimi ni neema yako, sio elimu yangu wala ndugu zangu, sio ujanja wangu wala rafiki zangu, kufika hapa wewe ni neema yake. Kila ulicho nacho ni neema yake. Wapo walosoma kuliko wewe, hawajafika hapo ulipo, wanahangaika. Mwambie Mungu asante kwa neema yake. Mwambie asante kwa huruma zake. Tunasimama sisi kwa neema yake, maisha tunayoishi ni neema yake, kuwa hai wewe ni neema yake. Wengine wamekufa, wewe uko hai, wengine wanalia, wewe una furaha. Ametuchagua kwa neema neema yake. Ametuvika heshima kwa neema yake, wala hatukustahili, ni neema yake. Sio kwa hekima yetu wala nguvu zetu, sio kwa ujanja wetu wala bidii yetu,